restarted. God changes.
Okay.
We're almost done.
On to God changes. We're on to Ao Kwong. You're gonna have a lot more to say about these than I will, because I do not know what the current state of balance is.
Well, what was your opinion of Al before, on a general basis?
I mean, for a while he was overpowered, then he was underpowered. I don't know where he is now. So,
I think he was
yeah.
in a pretty good place. Thing was, he used to be like S tier for a long time, right? And so he's been used a little bit less. They've been seeing him a little bit less, but I think his kit's always been pretty strong. And now we're seeing straight up across the board buffs, right? His
I mean,
passive
you're
was
seeing a
really
lot
weird.
more mana.
More mana, increased mana per level, MP5. But did he need it in the first place? I think he was in a good place. When you're considered like A tier, which I think he was at this point, maybe a little bit above. I don't know. Like, you're in a good place. You don't need we used to see Ao Kwong like every other game, and now we're only seeing him every fourth or fifth game. So he needs a buff again. That's basically what it seems like to me.
I mean, they're increasing his mana on his base stat to replace his old passive, which would just sort of consume mana when he was out. And now you're seeing him be a little bit less potent early game with that passive where you get that extra damage increase with the 5%. But you're seeing him a little bit better late game. So they seem to be shifting just his position a little bit more towards late game. But they're kind of making his late game a little bit too strong, I think.
45
Mostly
power,
just because that
15% life steal.
it's mostly the 15% life steal that's just replacing an item right there. He just doesn't need to build a life steal that much now. I mean, you can still build like poly early, but that's probably fine. Like you used to be able to build like poly and Bancrofts on him, but that seems kind of overkill now.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Like, at least if you're only building poly, you've got 12% lifesteal, and that's pretty much it. And now you're getting that extra lifesteal on top of it, so you're equalizing it to like a higher lifesteal item.
Right.
But you're still getting
He'll probably
that
be
crazy poly effect.
He'll be a little bit stronger right now. I don't think it's an insane buff, especially because his early game is still going to be a little bit worse. But you'll probably see more of him. That's for sure.
Hooray. I love being executed.
Yeah, you gotta buy beats. That's all it is.
Baka. Bernardo's going to be very happy. Game Geek also said that he was going to be playing Baka a lot more.
That's
once
a
the
good
patch hits.
buff.
So,
Provides an
eating
extra
minions. Yeah, 2 minions per stack.
You see, the thing about this kind of funny is that you'd almost never see this affected because the cooldown for Regurgitate was so long. But now they're also reducing the cooldown for Regurgitate. So since it's up more often, you kind of need those extra stacks. I don't know. It's a straight buff. Baka's definitely not at the top of his game right now. You could probably use a little bit of a buff. It's not. There's nothing really to say about it. You'll be seeing more Baka ultis. That's really all it is.
Dude, hunters lose Fatalis. Baka gets to keep his Fatalis. And
That's
now,
true. But
and now, because true damage don't care about freaking penetration, right? But now his Fatalis product gets that a little bit of extra power, and this freaking Regurgitate 70-second freaking cooldown. All I hear, I'm having nightmares of. That's scary.
I wouldn't be that worried about it just because, like, also take into account that Heavenly Agility, whatever they're calling it now, Heavenly Wings, that just got its movement speed or its slow immunity back. So Baka's getting a pretty big nerf with that because now he just has an active that counters him entirely. So yeah, I wouldn't get too hyped for Baka right now. Sorry, Baka.
It's basically kill a rabbit, run away.
Dude, I love Baka. I'm sad that he's probably not going to be viable still.
Still? You don't think so?
No. Not with the heavenly ability change. Anyway, Bologna. I'm kind of sad to see Bologna nerfed again. I mean, like, she's probably still too strong. I've always thought Bologna's too strong. There's never been a point in time where I thought Bologna was balanced. It's just a straight nerf. There's nothing else to say. Her early game is going to be worse. Her late game is going to be about the same. Yep.
It's mostly a really minor change, though, right? But oh, dude, no, seriously, I was watching DM Brandon's stream, and when they started talking about Bologna and Osiris together, and they basically said Bologna's getting a nerf and Osiris is not, and he just blew up, and it was freaking hilarious. You got to watch it. But anyway, so yeah, I think it's okay. Bologna's been considered S tier for quite a while now. So she saw a little bit of a nerf with the Mark of the Vanguard. No, not Mark. Sorry, Mark. Destal. It changed its health sustain or lifesteal-ish type effect with regard to cleave abilities.
Right.
So it got less. So she already got that, and now she's getting this, and I think that puts her in probably a pretty decent place overall. At least it makes it easier.
Make her,
you know,
closer to balanced.
Yeah. So minor change, but okay. Chiron.
What's the difference now?
So training exercise. Oh, and I just didn't look at it closely enough apparently, because I was like, what's going on with this? Training exercise, that little AoE delayed burst thing.
Oh.
It now applies to the mark. So then he can just shoot off that masterful shot thing, and so he uses his one, gets hits, uses his two, and it just really helps his early clear.
Yeah, okay. So just straight buff to Chiron.
Yeah, because he hasn't been seeing much play. So it's cool.
No, really? He was pretty good last time I played him. Yeah,
probably a long time ago,
not been
right?
seeing much play. Yeah, probably a long time ago. Yeah, definitely buff to his clear, buff to his damage just overall. Yeah, not much else to say about that. Chronos got weird.
So basically the passive was just a part of Accelerate, really. So
right. I mean,
the passive got moved over.
I understand why they moved it. I understand why they moved it there. I don't think he needed this huge buff to his late game. It just seems weird to me. Like, he's already bad early game and good late game. Like, you're just making him even better late game. That's not going to help any of his problems.
Power.
Yeah. Yeah. It's unnecessary. Like,
okay, but look.
It's solidified his identity as a
50 minutes.
He's already a great late game, though.
50 minutes to get full stacks, though. But, like, so let's consider, like, what's the average length? Okay, in the average length of time for a Conquest match, it used to be pretty quick because you saw a lot of early game blowouts, right? And so people surrendering or just them blowing them out. So we might see, an average of, 30, 35 minute matches now. So he'll probably gain a little bit more than half his stacks on an average match. So that's, still around 35, 40.
Yeah. I'd say that's about right.
Unneeded.
I don't know. It still seems like a ridiculous passive to me.
Yeah. Oh, whatever. Hooray. Isis. So she used to gain that MP5 and HP5 crap, which was really sort of stupid, and then she lost it when she died. Or lost like half of it.
You almost never
died, right?
noticed it.
No, it was stupid. So now it's a 10% CDR, though? Like, why did they choose that?
Was Isis not doing well?
No, she was... I think she was fine. Okay.
Well, in that case, I mean, it's a straight buff. Like, she doesn't have to build as much CDR. She has... she did build as much CDR. She now gets to use her abilities more often, and you never get her stacks lost. So, yeah, it's just good. I still think it doesn't fit her theme as well, which seems like an odd choice. Just like as a character, it doesn't really make any sense. But whatever,
Hey,
whatever.
maybe do one of those Marvel versus Capcom things instead. So Isis, is able to call in Osiris or something like that for 3 seconds to do a little quick attack. I don't know, stupid. Anyway, 10% CDR. It's weird, but it's a straight buff, unnecessary. Yeah. But people that play Isis will love that. So, all right, whatever.
Kuzenbo. I have no impression of Kuzenbo because I've literally never played him in a game.
He's been really bad. He just didn't really fit anywhere. He had his tier type push, which meant that he had to be behind the enemy. So he wasn't a good support, at least early game, because all he could do is push somebody back or get them off the backs of their ADC or something like that. Just not that functional. So Nini Kappa, people get slowed if they get hit by it directly. So he gets a little bit of a CC in his kit that already had a lot of CC, but in weird ways. So his sumo slam, he just sort of like pushes somebody back for a long time. It seems like that push goes for a long time, and they're just allowing him more mobility or ability to change direction.
And so hopefully that'll allow him to push people at least towards his team a little bit more if he wants to drive them in. If he like at more of a right angle.
So I see more. I see potential at least in support with Blink, for example, and the base Blink got that CD reduction. I think it's a shorter CD now, so maybe that allows him to do a little bit more of a tier type thing. I don't know.
Yeah, he's still basically the same. I mean, these are not huge changes for him. Even with Watery Grave being more of a knock up rather than a knock to side. I mean, he's going to be a little bit more disruptive just because of the extra slow and people getting knocked up, as well as being able to sort of drag people with him. So it's definitely a buff, but not immense changes. His fundamentals are still all the same.
I don't know. Sort of still more of like a jungler or some weird crap. I don't know.
You were Kuzenbo?
Yeah.
How is Kuzenbo a jungler?
Like, to me, like the idea of like a tier jungle or something like that, where you're roaming the jungle and you get the jump on somebody and you're able to push them towards your players. That's where I'm thinking of it. You throw the Nini Kappa, it slows them, controls them, you push them back or whatever, or the reverse. That's where I originally saw him being more useful, because just the kit is funky for support, but whatever.
It's not like a good lane support. It's a decent team fight support. So it's kind of, I don't know. It's funky. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't have enough experience playing him to give a really good impression on him.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever played him. So. Naja.
I'm just reading Naja. It's probably just fixes to beats. I don't really have anything to say about that. Hopefully it'll be better.
Additional quarter of a second to use purification, and if you use purification too late, you just can't use it anymore, so it doesn't get wasted if it's not going to function anyway. That's it.
It's good changes. Basically just bug fixes.
Yeah. I think it's okay.
Nemesis is very interesting. So they're making her a little bit more ability based just because they're increasing the base damage on her Slice and Dice, and for some reason on Swift Vengeance, which seems really odd to me, because you never use that ability for doing damage pretty much. But anyway, Slice and Dice, you're getting a damage increase, you're getting a scaling increase, but you're getting a much less slow from it. It doesn't seem like that much, but 50% at rank 5 was a ton.
Which was too much. It was a little too much.
Well, what it allowed you to do was you really could just use that and get some movement speed items and be fine just keeping up with people. But now that's a flat 30%, you might actually want to invest in that new, what was it called? It's like Hastened Katana. it might actually be worth it, just because if people buy a lot of these new movement speed items, they might be pretty hard to keep up with.
That's true.
And Divine Judgment is, a lower protection shred. So I don't know if that makes her better or worse. I think it makes her a little bit more versatile because Slice and Dice just doing more damage. Like, you're using that ability all the time. Like, I played a lot of Nemesis, and like, you're using it to clear jungles, you're using it to engage, you're using it just to chip away at people's health. Like, it's a lot more damage just since you're using it so often. But Divine Judgment was really sort of the coup de grace with Nemesis. Like, you needed that to sort of finish off enemies, and having that lesser reduction makes her ultimate a lot less potent.
Don't be throwing all those fancy words. What did you say?
What, coup de grace?
Yeah, what is that?
It was the highlight of her kit, essentially. The crown jewel.
Freaking show off.
Sorry, I don't know. I took high school English class. I haven't taken anything since I got to college.
I don't remember learning that in freaking high school English.
Well, I went to a good high school, Brian.
Screw you.
In any case, Divine Judgment is definitely seeing a nerf, and that's going to make her late game a little bit less potent. It's going to make her ganks with that ulti a lot less potent, but her Slice and Dice is definitely going to make her early game a lot more impactful, and should help her get to that late game state where she's just a dominant force anyway. So I hope it's a buff for her Nemesis. I'm not sure if it is, but I'm praying and hoping that it will be.
With the damage increases and the scaling and everything, it makes her more. It changes her from being more of a tank killer to
it
being
definitely makes her
effective
more
against.
versatile.
Yeah. But
because she was targeted as a tank killer, but it's also kind of boring because now she doesn't just kill tanks, which was the role she's supposed to be. She's always supposed to be a niche character. Now they're like, oh, let's just make her like everyone else. And every time I see that, I'm just sort of like, but then you're destroying the niche. The niches were fun. It's whatever. I don't know. I mean, like, you'll probably see more play from her because she's now less niche, but she's going to be less strong in her niche. So take that as you will. New Law is seeing the greatest buff of all time.
Amazing. And it's been asked for what, a couple years?
No, it's been asked for long enough that I can remember asking for it for like a year, and it never happened. And that was
Finally.
like 3 years ago. So, about time. That's all I have to say.
Good buff.
Is a fucking mess. It's hard to analyze like what exactly happened just because he got so many things changed. Percussive Storm, I'm just going to say it's a buff because that's what it is. It's just more accurate now, has better range, although the scaling is decreased. So,
but it's technically pretty minor.
5%
scaling, minor.
I mean, it also increased the damage. Just
so that part mostly balances it. Everything else is just an improvement.
Right. Raiju, because it now deals damage over time, does mean that players will have a chance to mitigate that damage doing things, which is a nice sort of like counterplay thing. I think it's more improved for just gameplay.
Like for using Bracer of Undoing? Great.
Well, no, not that one. That one didn't matter. If you got hit by the instant one, you could still do that.
I know, but it gives them a little more time. If it's like getting to the point where they're almost gonna die, they have another couple seconds maybe to like trigger it before if you're really slow in the head.
It gives moronic players an opportunity to be less stupid.
That's me.
Don't use Bracer of Undoing. I'll judge you if you do. I refuse. I refuse to be on your team. You're up. If you buy Bracer of Undoing or if you don't buy Mystical Mail, I refuse to be on your team.
God, Mystical Mail. Anyway, Mystical Mail is not in this list. We are not talking about that item. I've hated it always.
About that item all day. Anyway, so you still like a pretty easy buff because the slow is pretty strong. I mean, the damage is still kind of wonky because it's a little bit less now, although the flat's a little bit more. So,
actually, the damage is this. Well, okay.
2.5
Scaling
seconds.
13, 26, 39, 52.
What?
Every 5 seconds. Oh, 5 times. 5. So it's 65, right? 65% instead of 70%
75.
scaling. So it's lost 5%.
Oh,
But the base
talking
damage
about.
ends up being the same over that entire period of time. Oh, it says it right there. Total of 65. I didn't have to do all that horrible math in my head.
Yeah, I was wondering what you were doing
Being
there.
Asian,
The
being Asian
scaling.
doesn't necessarily mean that your math skills increase. Okay,
All right,
I
well,
just gotta tell you there.
let me explain it to you, Brand. The scaling is reduced, but the base damage is increased because 0.5 seconds for 2.5 seconds. So while it was 60 before, it's 75 now. While it was 220 before, it's now 275 on the base damage. But the scaling is 5% less. So it's a buff to the damage, just slightly. For most ranks, maybe at max rank, it's a little bit less. It's hard to say because you're getting
About the same.
55
About the same
more.
in the end. So it gains the slow. Anytime you just straight up mark the target, and then you trigger the damage, you use percussive storm after that point, and all of a sudden you got a 30% slow.
Right. So you basically just have this really strong slow. It's on a shorter cooldown, so you'll be able to use it more often.
And
Um,
any nearby freaking allies, and I don't know what the radius is for this thing, but any nearby allies get that 15% slow also,
right.
and the damage. It
So
becomes a much stronger team fight. Instead of being an individual targeted ability, it is now a team fight ability.
yes,
Which
definitely true. His
is
first two abilities are
amazing.
basically just better abilities. His kit is more well rounded now.
Yeah. Wait, hang on a sec. Hi, Annie. Okay. Hold on just a sec. Gotta close the door. Wife said I was too loud. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So yeah, he's got a more well rounded kit now. But then you have taiko drums, which has been significantly reduced. So projectile speed has been reduced. The fire duration is longer, probably to account for the fact that the projectiles are now moving slower, and he does less damage with his other two abilities on it. So basically, taiko drums is just less effective overall. But because his ulti was so strong before, compared to the rest of his kit, at least, it should make him more equalized, I would say. And I think that's for the better. I think the way he works now is just a more coherent kit. And we even talk about charge tempo. But in any case, it just makes him able to use his abilities sort of more sequentially, um, which is good because now it basically just allows him to sort of mesh his kit more well together. Because Storm and Raiju just sort of work now when before they were very single target abilities and they were kind of wonky to get hit. So yeah.
So okay, so in the end, I'm seeing it's sort of interesting because it's changing him from being like a single target, for the most part, a single target killer type that didn't do a really great job, to being more of a team fight function, sort of like a Zhang Kui or something along those lines, right? You've got some team fight abilities.
I would put it as
And
strong as Zhang Kui. Zhang Kui is like the ultimate of like team fight
yeah,
nonsense.
absolutely. But like you combine the area slow and damage with the taiko drums and the even though it's doing less damage, you still got that taunt and fear type function, and now he can control some groups
Right.
and deal just more team fight focus, which is sort of nice than having yet another mage that does single target damage.
Well, I mean, there are the majority of mages, I would say, still do like team fight focused AoE damages. Like you look at Sai, you'll get Ra, you'll get now Raijin, you'll get Agni, you'll get Vulcan, etc., etc., etc. And they're sort of putting him more in that niche because his kit made more sense for that niche compared to like Nox, who just really locks down one target. Um, so yeah, I'm glad that they took that direction with him. He didn't really feel like he had a place with the other mages. Like you felt like this weird blend between the two sides. And now he's definitely more of like he's now like more the type of mage that I would play personally. So I'll be glad to try him out.
Sweet.
In any case,
Sobek.
Sobek, small buff, not really much to say. It's just quality of life. Yeah. Moving on.
Susano.
I don't want to spend time on Sobek getting 3 extra seconds. Gathering Storm. Do you have anything to say about this? I haven't even read these things yet.
All I know is that Susano's been really a pain in the ass to fight against. He's got a lot of control and or mobility, and that's about it. So he's getting yet another nerf, and they're having a really hard time finding a balance for him. Is pretty much what it seems like.
Well, he seems to be getting less mobile now because his new passive is just straight damage. Um, Basically, you're getting extra damage for every time you land ability on an enemy god. So that's still a pretty decent passive. It's kind of boring, but it's decent.
Yeah, I think it mostly removes or decreases the fun that a lot of people used to have with him, due specifically to that mobility though.
Right. I mean, like, I don't really like that nerf just because the whole point of Susanoo is kind of just be like this really fast, swift god, and now they're sort of just slowing him down. I'd rather see him just nerf his other stats. But you also have to take into account that there's like a million movement speed items coming into the game, and Heavenly Agility or Heavenly Wings is coming back into the meta probably. So characters are going to be faster anyway, so Susanoo's probably going to be able to retain some of that old speed. But just having him be faster than everyone else was kind of like a big part of him. And I don't know, just seems silly that they would choose that way to reduce him instead of just reducing his other stats. Like just like the Storm Kata damage decrease makes sense to me. Because everyone when he first came out, he would just zip by and like do a million damage to you and then leave. Yeah. It was like what just happened. The fact that he was that mobile wasn't like the biggest issue. It was the fact that he would come by and annihilate you. I'd rather him chip away at my damage while he's just swiftly moving around me rather than
like Tracer.
Yeah, like Tracer. They could have made him Tracer. Why isn't Tracer in a MOBA? Except she is.
Imagine him in that in like a tight bodysuit. Ugh.
I mean, he's already shirtless. What difference does it make? Anyway, I never know how to pronounce this character properly. Uller. So in any case, I'm just gonna call him Lur. Larry. So in any case, Larry gets reduced mana cost. Not really that. I mean, like he does spend a lot of mana, and that's why you usually see him get Transcendence. Not the biggest deal. And then they're decreasing. No, they're leveraging his stim. That's not bad. They're only decreasing at a max rank actually. So he's getting some buffs. But you're still such a weird god. Like if you're really good at weird, like you can annihilate people. Like we've seen pros that are really good at weird play him when he's not like a meta character. Maybe these will bring him more into line with people that can just not like main weird and just play him for fun. But I still see him as being like one of those characters that you just have to master to be good at.
Yeah. He stance switching and all this other kind of crap. And, too much for me.
Like Genji of Smite. Anyway, well that's it. That's it for the patch notes.
Yeah. Do you want to stop this one and talk really quickly on a separate one about Schlapp's potential SmiteFire suggestions for changes and stuff? Or
yeah, sure. We'll do that, and I'll hit the hay, I suppose, because we said we were gonna do that.